Goedemiddag allemaal. Zijn jullie er nog? Ja? Oké. En dan zijn we nu toegekomen aan het deel van onze show waar een aantal van onze gasten op het podium komen. En jullie mogen vragen stellen of jullie mogen gewoon luisteren naar hetgeen de gasten te vertellen hebben. Dat hangt allemaal een beetje van u af. Onze volgende gast heeft een gevarieerde loopbaan. Hij werkte als poppenanimator in Little Shop of Horrors, waarin hij Audrey 2, de vleesetende poom, tot leven bracht. Ook werkte hij mee aan London Boulevard en Hideo Nakata's Chatroom. Hij werkte bewonderen in Casualty, The Boot Street Band, Spitting Image, Situation Critical, Jenny's War, Keeping Mum, Harry's Mad, Time Gentlemen Please, Pay and Display, Paul Dreams of Benny and the Scarlets and the Black and Shame. Dat is een hele hoop. Maar je kent hem vooral als Tessek the Quarren en een Mon Calamari officier in Return of the Jedi. Uw applaus voor Gerald.
Hello, thank you for coming. There's lots and lots of you. We've only got about 20 minutes to ask questions and for me to talk to you, so I'll have to speak quickly. For those of you who don't know me, I played two characters in Return of the Jedi. Can you all understand? Yeah, you all understand? I'm one of the few actors in Star Wars films who played both light side and dark side. Okay, so I was a Mon Calamari officer and Squidhead, now called Tessek. Some people ask me, why am I not in the credits? I am in the credits. If you go to the end of Return of the Jedi, there's lots and lots and lots of Ewoks. Underneath Ewoks is a section called mime artists. Yeah? There are 9 people there listed as mime artists. I'm one of them. Do you understand what a mime artist is? Yeah? A mime artist is someone who acts without words. And that's what we were hired for. We were hired to bring to life the creatures in Jabba's palace. Who knows what my job was? What was my job for Jabba? I had a specific job. Anybody know? Okay, I was Jabba's accountant. Thank you, Tim from TK421. If you Belgian people don't know a group called TK421, you must go and see their booth later and join. It's a very good group. They have a very good magazine. It's a Belgian magazine, published in Dutch, yes? Okay, what else? So you'll find me there under mime artists. What a lot of people don't know is that I have 2 pages of dialogue, extra scenes that were written because there were some holes in the plot. Do you understand? There were some bits of the plot that didn't make sense. So they wrote some extra scenes, which I did with Admiral Akbar. And if you haven't seen my website, you can go to it, it's geraldhome.com, and you can download those 2 pages of extra scenes. And I'll tell you now one of the lines I said. It was, "Sir, the shield around the Death Star has lost power." Sir, the shield around the Death Star has lost power. Now that's quite an important line, isn't it? And if you take away that information, there's a hole in the plot. The plot doesn't make sense. So who can tell me what line replaced my line? I'll say that again. My line, the shield around the Death Star has lost power, was taken away and replaced by the shield is down. Everybody's going, of course, of course, of course, of course. Okay, now who can tell me who says the shield is down? Which character says that? Admiral Akbar, anybody else agree? Admiral Akbar? Okay, well everybody thinks Admiral Akbar said it. Everybody thinks, but he doesn't. Watch the film again, no one says it. It's a noise, it's a voice off. But they try to make it look like Akbar's mouth is saying that, but he's not. Shall we take questions? Any questions? Yes, sir.
How many hours does it take to become one of your creatures?
How many hours does it take to become one of the creatures? Well, not long, because both characters I played were masks. Again, if you go to my website, you'll find a photograph of the Squidhead Tessek mask, as it is today, in an exhibition in Brazil. And you'll see how big it is. It was about twice the size of my head. So the time it took was to put this thing onto me, tie me into it. I was strapped around the waist, and then make up the eyes and the ears where the camera could see my skin. So that took about 5 minutes. Mon Calamari was much quicker. That was straight on, straight off. Yeah, it didn't take too long at all. The problem was breathing once we were on set. Something else you can download from my website that many people haven't seen are call sheets. And if you come to my desk, come to my table, I can show you call sheets. Call sheets tell you what's going to happen on the film set that day. What Harrison Ford is going to be doing, what Mark Hamill was going to be doing, what kind of camera was used, what I was doing that day. It gives you lots of information if you like the background details. Most important thing, it tells how many people for tea and what time you have tea. And that's very, very important in Britain. You must stop for tea. More questions? Yes, sir. Okay, the question was, what kind of person is George Lucas? Is he an easy person to work with? Well, first of all, George Lucas did not direct Return of the Jedi. That was directed by a man called Richard Marquand. But George Lucas did direct the Battle of Endor scenes. Again, if you have a look at the call sheets on my website or on my table, one of them is yellow. You understand? One of them is yellow. Most call sheets are white, but some call sheets are yellow. That means second unit. And you all know that second unit means less important. And second unit is usually directed by a second unit director. Yes? You understand? But because the Battle of Endor scenes, only George Lucas knew what was going to be in the windows behind us on the Mon Calamari bridge set. So he directed those scenes. You ask anybody what's George Lucas like, they will say very quiet. I never heard his voice. I say the same thing. He was very quiet. I never heard his voice. He did not interfere with the director of the film, Richard Marquand. He let him do his own thing. George Lucas is famous for not giving actors direction. Sometimes you work with a director who gives you lots of direction and tells you whether your character is happy or sad or a good person or a bad person. The only direction I was given was, when I was Squidhead, he said, okay, you're a bad guy. You work for the most evil gangster in the universe, Jabba the Hutt. And then whenever I was cast as the Mon Calamari officer, he said, okay, now you're a good guy. And you work for the nicest man in the galaxy, Admiral Akbar. So that's the kind of direction you get. It's very basic, not deep, in-depth. Another question? Yes? Okay, the question was, third season, Clone Wars, Mon Calamari battle, what is my opinion? I've never seen it. I don't know. I don't see any Clone Wars. I saw the first 2 episodes when they were in the cinema as a film, but I haven't seen it. Do you like it? Do you think it's good? Yeah? Do you all watch Clone Wars? Most people do. Okay, what's your favorite Star Wars film?
Revenge of the Sith.
Episode 6, did someone say?
Revenge of the Sith.
The second. That's the wrong answer. The best one is episode 6, Return of the Jedi. But my favorite is the number 4, the first one. A New Hope, that's my favorite. I like it because it's not perfect. Yeah? It's human. Okay, let me tell you something. Do you know someone called Kate Bush? Do you know a singer called Kate Bush? Yeah? She has a very good record out at the moment called 50 Words or Snow. Yeah, that's her new LP, her new CD. 3 years ago, she made a CD called Ariel. And one of the tracks on this Ariel was called King of the Mountain. Right? King of the Mountain. It's genius. It's just brilliant. And who was the king? In show business, who was the king? Who do we call the king? Elvis. Elvis Presley was the king. So this song is about Elvis Presley. And in this song, there's a video for this song. I think you can see it on YouTube. Maybe on Kate Bush's website. The Elvis, you know when Elvis was older and fat and playing Las Vegas, he had a white suit, right? He was very fat. And he had a white suit. Well, in this video, Kate Bush directed, the Elvis costume flies through the air. Sometimes she cradles it, like a mother cradling a baby. Sometimes it's on a washing line. Do you understand the washing line? This Elvis suit. Now her record label, EMI, said, okay, we CGI Elvis. This Elvis suit, we CGI. Kate Bush said, no. No CGI. We must have puppeteers. And EMI, the record company, said, but why do you want to get puppeteers? We have to have auditions, we have to find puppeteers, 4 puppeteers, we have to pay them money, it'll take a week. And Kate Bush said, but I want human beings. EMI said, but why? And she said, because EMI said, why do you want human beings when they will not be seen? Right? It was filmed against green screen. I was one of the puppeteers. It was filmed against green screen, so you didn't see the puppeteers. So EMI said, why do you want to pay these human beings money when we could do it in 20 minutes CGI? And her answer was, I love her answer. She said, they will not be there, but their humanity will be there. Their human beingness will be there. The fact that they were warm, living human beings. You will see in the video. Now, contrast that with the CGI you get in the prequels, for example. You know, in the numbers 1, 2, and 3, episodes 1, 2, and 3. I find them very cold. Because there's no human involvement. On screen it's all CGI, it's cold. Do you see what I mean? Do you understand? Other question? Yes?
Jabba the Hutt, is that... You have seen Jabba the Hutt. How is it being done? He asks.
Jabba the Hutt, how was he operated?
Yeah.
I believe, Tim, maybe you know better, I believe there were 4 people inside Jabba the Hutt. Toby Philpott was the left arm, little Mike Edmonds, who was, he was an Ewok, and he was also inside Jabba's tail. And I think there were 2 other people inside Jabba. And there were several outside operating his eyes. But if you get the DVDs, there are special features that show you those things. And they show you the people inside Jabba. Yeah? That's on the DVDs, isn't it? Yeah. What questions? Because they're going to take me away very soon. Yes?
How did they do the lightsaber in Empire Strikes Back?
Oh, wow. How do they do the lightsaber in Empire Strikes Back? I don't know, because I didn't work on that one. I worked on the next one. Does anybody have an answer for that? How did they do the lightsaber in Empire Strikes Back? I will put you in touch with some people and they can tell you. I usually have much more to say, but you're going to drag me away any second. I find a photograph. This is the Tessek mask in the exhibition in Brazil. You see the human being beside the mask? It lets you see how big the mask is. The inside was destroyed, probably because of my DNA, my sweat. The inside was rotted away. But the mask still exists. Obi-Wan Kenobi Street in Poland. There were this morning, I spoke to 2 Polish people this morning. It has the only street in the world that is officially named after a Star Wars character. And it's called Obi-Wan Kenobi Street. Well, I've been there. Wonderful. Okay, right, I know many of you like details. You like to know details about the filming. And it might surprise you that I've already told you there were some holes in the plot in Return of the Jedi when we were filming. There were some bits that didn't make sense, so they would write scenes to try and make sense of them. So what you've got to do when you go home, get your DVD of Return of the Jedi, and about 46 minutes into the film, you see the first appearance of Akbar. Do you understand? 46 minutes into the film, roughly, you see Akbar's first appearance. Can you tell me what it is, what he's doing in his first appearance?
Standing in the back.
Anybody remember?
Standing in the back? Standing in the back?
Well, he's standing on the bridge. He's standing on the bridge, leaning on a rail, looking down into the briefing room. Right, you can picture it? We need the Force. Oh, you are. Are you all right?
Try again.
Okay, so if you find that scene, Akbar's good. Akbar's first appearance. He's leaning on the rail, looking down. There's a Mon Calamari sitting at the table there, with his back to the camera, because the camera's looking up. Yeah? Camera's down in the briefing room, looking up at Akbar, who's looking down. There's a Mon Calamari sitting at that table, and there's a Mon Calamari, which is me, with the back to the camera. And there's a Mon Calamari moving off. Okay? Now, if you fast forward to about 1 hour 57 minutes, so you go from about 46 minutes to 1 hour 57 minutes, that scene continues. But the guy who's walking off has just moved about 2 steps. So Akbar is still leaning, looking down. That guy's still sitting there, I'm still sitting there, and the guy who was starting to move off 46 minutes disappears. Now, how much action happens between 46 minutes and 57 minutes? A lot. So that tells you that when they were editing the film, they didn't have any footage, they didn't have any film that they could use instead of that. Yeah? Did you know that? It always surprises me that you guys don't notice those things. And many films are thrown together. Like we say cobbled. You know, a cobbler is someone who works on shoes. You know, he goes hammer, 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 hammer. So a lot of films are cobbled together. And I think that's what happened in this case. They didn't have any other footage they could use, so they had to do that. But logically, it doesn't make sense, because he should have not be there 1 hour and 10 minutes later. Okay, more questions. Who's got another question? Yes? Okay, good question. The question was, how do you convey human emotions when there's not much face visible? Well, this is the reason why they hired people who could do mime to do these characters. I've got some photographs on my table. I can illustrate this point I'm going to make. Okay, I'll tell you this other story. Who watches Doctor Who? Do you watch Doctor Who? Oh, lots of people. Do you remember the first series recently with Christopher Eccleston? He was the first of the new Doctor Who's, Christopher Eccleston. When they were beginning that series, they were going to have 4 actors who could move, who knew how to move inside costumes. They were going to have it's the usual thing, tall man, tall girl, small girl. And these 4 characters were going to play all the aliens in the Doctor Who series. This is, what, 5-6 years ago, you know, the one with Christopher Eccleston, before David Tennant. And they were going to give the actors very good fees because these were highly trained people who knew how to bring emotions through costumes when the face couldn't be seen. But then the BBC decided that if they used actors, they have to pay actors money, they have to give them repeat fees, residuals, you understand? But if they use extras, they pay half the money and there's no repeat fees and no residuals. Now, I was hired to be one of the tall actors, right? So I was going to be working on it for 6 months in costume, bringing them to life, you know, inside masks. But the BBC, instead of that, they cancelled the 4 actors, and they always use extras. So I'll show you on Doctor Who the way that aliens move. And when they're standing in a scene, which is cool, you know, they're not actors. They don't know how to act. They're not paid to act. But if you had actors in those scenes, the actors would be... Do you see what I mean? They would be alive. They would be involved. They would be listening. They would be showing anger. They would be showing fear. But with the extras, they're... Have I answered your question? It's just... It was part of my training. When you study at drama school, you study mime, they teach you how to act without words. Good question. I think we've got one last question.
Okay, the head, you make move. The mouth and the eyes, is it also you?
Well, my eyes... You see, the problem, when I was given these extra lines to learn as the Mon Calamari officer, they didn't work because my mouth was not articulated. It was, there were several Akbar masks. Some of them were articulated. Tim Rose, he was also a puppeteer. Sometimes he wore the mask, sometimes it was above his head, and he was operating it like a puppeteer. There were cables from the mouth and the eyes. Other puppeteers would be working the cables. Same with Jabba. People would be working in the eyes and the mouth. Neither of my masks was articulated. So if I tried to make my lines, when I was doing these lines I had to learn as Mon Calamari officer, I was going like inside the mask to try and make the mouth move. It didn't work. It didn't work. Which I think is why my scenes are not in the film. But who knows? One more short question. Do I have to finish, Philip? Yeah? One more short question. Well, listen, if you have... Thank you for listening so attentively. If you have more questions, come and see me at my table. I'm going to have lunch for half an hour, and then I'll be there over there somewhere. Thank you very much. May the force be with you.